A very good afternoon to all the second semester students of the Department of Business Administration. Today I have circulated a notes in your WhatsApp group which is related to the next part of your second unit, Human Resource Management. And this video which I have uploaded in YouTube is basically a discussion which complements the notes. Please listen to the discussion also. It should not happen you only focus on memorizing the notes and completely ignore the discussion part, because if it happens then you can very easily forget the concept. So to ensure that you have a long lasting memory and you can hold on to your memory, you should enable your understanding by listening to the discussion also. I'm quite happy that most of the students of all the 3 semesters have called me whenever they have faced any problem, whenever they faced any doubt. I've tried to resolve their doubts to whatever possible extent. It indicates that students are going through the concept, they are reading the concept, and at the same time they are listening to my discussion. So if you look at the notes today that I have circulated in your WhatsApp group, this is basically the first page of it is basically a note related to the concept of recruitment. So recruitment is a sub-function of the overall human resource acquisition process. Human resource acquisition process will commence with human resource planning, by which the organization will determine the number and the type of employees. Then it proceeds to job analysis, by which the organizations will determine the nature of jobs, through which an appropriate compensation is fixed for the job. So you can understand that human resource acquisition process will involve some steps which are performed sequentially. And so human resource planning and job analysis will entail recruitment, and in turn recruitment will entail selection. So what recruitment is? The recruitment is a process by which the organization identifies the sources from which the personnel who can be employed in the organizations are contacted, and they are encouraged to offer themselves for employment in the organization. Now you can understand that more number of candidates who have offered themselves for employment in the organization gathered through recruitment process will facilitate the selection process, because by the selection process the organization will select a candidate. So a higher volume of applications gathered through the recruitment process will ensure that the chances of selecting an appropriate candidate is more through the selection process. So recruitment is a process by which the prospective candidates are attracted to offer themselves for employment in the organization. So it will begin when the organizations start seeking employees from the market, and it will terminate when the organization has collected the pool of applications through the process of recruitment. Now there are different sources by which the organizations will contact the prospective candidates in the market. So as I've told you that basically all the steps of the human resource acquisition process are interconnected, or you can say that a particular sub-function of the human resource acquisition process cannot be undertaken unless and until the preceding step is completed. So basically you can say that there are two sources of recruitment. One refers to internal and the other refers to external. As the name suggests, internal sources of recruitment would be a source where the organizations would try to select employees from within the organization, whereas external sources is a source where the organization seeks for employees from outside the organization. Now, how does selecting employees from within the organization happens? We will discuss it in details. There are basically two types of internal sources. One is referred to as present employees and one is referred to as employee referrals. Now, what is present employees? Now, whoever is working in the organizations, he can be promoted or transferred to some other job. Now, promotion and transfer are the basic two types of internal sources of recruitment. Now, promotion is a strategy adopted by most of the organizations in varying proportions. In fact, all the organizations have adopted this strategy in varying proportions. So, depending upon promotion can help the employees working within the organizations to, improve their morale or increase their loyalty towards the organization. But too much reliance on promotion would result in lack of innovation. This also the organization does not want. Or at the same time, you can say that promotion has some advantages also. That means that if the employees within the organization finds a scope to be promoted to a higher post, then he would perform better in the organization. The decision of promotion is more like a make or buy decision in the organization. So from an human resource perspective, make or buy decision is like whether the organization is looking to select fresh candidates and invest on training and development and then promote him to a higher post. This is a decision that the organization needs to make, or the organization can select experienced personnel and offer them higher salary. So this is basically a trade-off that the organization needs to reach at. That means the organization needs to reach at whether they would select fresh candidates and invest on training and development and promote them to a higher post, or they would select candidates from outside who are already experienced. But whenever an employee is experienced, he would not come at a lesser cost. So you have to pay higher salary for the employees, for the experienced employees that you are looking to select. So if the organization is deciding to make employees, then this is referred to as promotion. Whereas if the organization is looking to buy employees, then he would adopt an external source of recruitment. But whatever be the case, promotion and transfer is something which is adopted by almost all the organizations. Now, the next type of internal source is referred to as employee referral. Now, employee referral is basically an employee who is already working in the organization. He is referring a prospective candidate to be selected for the organization. Now, this can be a quite potent source of recruitment, because someone who is already working in the organization, he is aware regarding the organizational practices, so he can match the suitability of a prospective candidate with the organizational practices, and he can suggest an appropriate candidate for the organization. So these are basically the two types of internal sources. The next discussion would deal with the external sources of recruitment. But before I start the discussion on the external sources of recruitment, please listen to this discussion and see whether there is any problem.